that's a weird one. It's so much easier to be weird on piano. So much easier. I mean, you know, if you're weird, you'll be weird. That's the truth. The whole truth of all of that and nothing but. It's Friday. New music out on Friday. What's it gonna be today? Well, there was a new Psychedelic Porn Crumpets album, so it could again look at them again this year, twice, with another horrible cover as well. There we go. I don't know if that's any better, really. Makes everything else behind me look brighter. I could look at that, but I'm not going to. There's also a Hilda Guðnadóttir album, which I'm interested about. Hilda Guðnadóttir is a cool, quite powerful film composer, who I most know for Joker, although there may well be other things that I've forgotten about. Also, anyone been watching the UK Celebrity Traitors? Because Cat Burns has released a new album too. But I'm not having a look at it. It may well be fine. I'm not looking at it right now. I'm having a look. Oh, there's also a special Halloween Ada Rook release, which is probably going to be horrible. But no, I'm looking at, again, Kobuzz's top one of the week. It's Anna von Hausswolff, or Hausswolff. I'm not sure whichever one it is. It's that one. And yeah, Anna von Hausswolff is, as they say here, quite hard to define. One-of-a-kind musical chameleon who identifies the pipe organ as her primary instrument. This was especially noticeable on the most recent album, All Thoughts Fly, from 2020, which basically is minimalist organ music. It's quite nice, occasionally quite unusual, but this, in comparison to the album before, which doesn't seem to be on Kobu's, interestingly, which is Dead Magic, well, that one was much more of a dark kind of gothic affair from what I remember. Yeah, I haven't listened to any of these earlier ones. We do seem to have a lot more pipes going on, so who knows what they'll be like. Maybe they'll be more like All Thoughts Fly, maybe they'll be more like Iconoclasts, or maybe Iconoclasts is like All Thoughts Fly. I'm sure we will find out soon, and we're in for quite an unusual treat anyway. So let's get going. I'm just going to move this mic a little further away, sorry about the sound, and have it pointed more specifically at me so that you can hear me. Yay! The beast. Here we go. Okay. A non A equals 440A. Slightly higher than that, isn't it? What is it on? Is it on a saxophone? Is it on a clarinet? One of the two. I would say probably saxophone. We've also got quite a lot of space, ambient noise that we can hear. Are we going through the right thing? Yeah, we are. Let's hear it again. There's a lot of background noise there. Feels like it's connected to some highway or something like that. But, you know, not presently right next to the highway, just it's rumbling in the distance. And then, yeah, this note gets sort of pitched up a little bit, but it's more like there's a slightly higher note that comes to interfere with it, and so we get this kind of feel. Sounds like two things, yeah, really rubbing against each other in an uncomfortable way. Yeah, when that one went up to more like a B, you could hear that more clearly as a note, but when it's lingering around these two, very much not. Anyway, that seems to have been just an intro. For a moment it clears and it comes back down. Great. I think that's the chord. Okay, let's hear it again. Sounds like a low saxophone now. So you can hear two breaths taken in, one on the left, one on the right, and then it has this slide down to a low A, and then we get this cool riff. Keep going, we'll work it out. There's an extra note in there somewhere. Oh, that's kind of like a split note. It feels like maybe one saxophone goes down there, or maybe they split. Now, harmonic. The top one is a harmonic of the low one, so yes, potentially it could be a split. I don't know how that would be done on a saxophone, but you know, it's not beyond the realms of possibility. And then we get these three coming down. Is it that, or is it that? We're nearly there. Feels like that, really. Oh, it's a bit fast. Yeah, something like that for the chord, and then with that A constantly recurring in the background. So what we're looking at there then is sort of like a G chord on an A with an E that's the fifth of that chord. We don't have a third for the A chord, adding in that C there, or C sharp. That is played in the riff, so it kind of gives us what our A chord would be, but we're on this split chord between A and G, A minor and G, so it doesn't really feel like it's a fully resolved, straightforward, comfortable beginning place. It's sort of leading somewhere. That's how it feels. There's a little bit of percussion going along with the sax. It seems to be actually probably, now I think about it, it's going to be a close mic sax where we can hear the keys flicking on and off. But we've got this kind of going along with those changes of note, which almost feels like proper small drums that you might get in a big orchestra. So is this an organ, do you think, holding this chord? Because it sounds quite bright, like a synth, but you know, organs can sound a huge amount of different ways. So we come to this sort of brief moment, as I think we've probably had about 4 of them. Let's hear again. So let's assume this is the first one. I think it is. There's our second one. There's our fourth. Yeah, so we get more of that sort of weird beating from the two. One's up on a D. The other's, yeah, I think around there. I don't know, something around there. But we get this momentary lapse in the organ or the synth as these two saxes do something slightly different, slightly more sort of improvised feel, which is fun. Oh, wait, hold on. I can see we've not got the bingo up. That's weird. Why is that not up? Oh, there it is. I must have put it down. Don't know. Regardless, there it is. I have an idea about the bingo, by the way, which is when we find something exciting, we're gonna paste over one of these other things and put that in as a new category, and then we will have this sort of beautiful elevation of the bingo, and it changes slightly from stream to stream. It might be worthwhile. I don't know. It's trying to keep it, vital in some way, so you don't just, you're not just listening for the ardent, impressive passion and critique. You're listening for exciting things in music specifically. I don't know. Anyway, yeah. So that fourth one then was cut off at the end. We didn't get the ba-do-ba-doo, which I think must be something like that, and then it's in. So something like that. Yeah, which is nice because this da 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 wants to go there, but it da 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 sort of supersedes the note that it would aim for. Da da da, Anyway, that fourth one is interrupted, but then we come back to the same thing. But this time we have another saxophone up in a higher range, doing a trill on the G and the A. Tonally here, yeah, we're all based around A minor. We've not had any black notes so far on this keyboard. That's just more of the same. This pedal A coming through the riff doesn't seem to. I mean, if it is in, I guess it could be in the organ, but there's more notes in that, making it a little less clear that there's an A in there. There's definitely a G in there. I sort of feel like there's a D as well, maybe a B. So maybe there's a B. Actually, let's just check, see if there's a B. Yeah, there is. Yeah, so it's this basically five note chord being held most of the time, which doesn't give us our standard major or minor feel. The riff gives us a bit more of the minor feel. I'm repeating myself, but I'm saying that it's sort of ambiguous harmony. It's not settled at all. Even though we've come back to it and we're holding it for such a long time, it really doesn't feel settled. Yeah, that one up at the top added that in just at the end, didn't it? In the higher octave. So that one feels really free and improvisatory. Okay, that was our fourth time again. We got the same kind of thing. We got that high D, and then this kind of beating sound as these two notes, I think, try to come through the same saxophone. It's extended techniques, but as I'm not a saxophone whiz, I don't really understand saxophone. I know that you can do multiphonics on saxophone, and this sort of seems like halfway there. It's not actually hearing two different notes. One is beating out of existence from time to time, but it's almost coming through. I think that's probably what's going on, but if you're a saxophone nut, please get in touch and explain what's going on. Yeah, so that trilling one is going from the left to the right, it's in a much bigger space. The others are really close mic'd and there's not that much reverb, but that other one is going all the way across and really playing with space. Okay, there's a little more irregularity coming in here, deviations from the riff in the left sax mainly, maybe a little in the right sax as well, and a little play between these three different saxes. Yeah, so there's that fourth bit again, and now that has elongated into the new section. It's really, just this kind of playing around with these two notes, one interfering with the other. It's almost like you're sitting on the break of your voice, like, right? It wants to be one or the other. It's very hard to make it sit right on both of those. Let's see if I can. No, but I can get a subharmonic and that'll do. Yeah, you can go between the break there, and it flips very quickly from one to the other, and that's kind of what's going on in this saxophone too. But it feels like we're not going back to Kansas after this, we're going somewhere else. Yeah, we've got a whoo, which is like a really sharp C in this kind of range. So this is getting a lot more unconventional harmonically, kind of like the beginning. Whoa, wow. Low D coming through on what's presumably a baritone sax. Really nice thick sound. This kind of vibration coming from it. So it's almost the same riff, but we've got those low Ds instead. So this changes the feel of the chord quite considerably. Yeah, so I think if we still have those notes coming through, but instead of the A, which feels like it's really waiting for something, I wouldn't say the D feels fully resolved either, but it's a fifth lower, so we get this kind of perfect cadence feel. That's how it would be if it was really straightforward and nice, but instead, and then when we get the ba-da-da, that feels much more like a proper like G major feel than it did before, because it's repeated in the 2 octaves. So even though we've got that chord, it actually feels pretty comfortably on that. D maybe not fully comfortable, but the G certainly more so. Still getting that beating kind of thing on the 4th repetition. So this is, surprisingly square. We did have a brief bit of space just then, but yeah, it feels pretty comfortable otherwise. We're getting a lot of repetition. It feels like the saxes are actually moving away, drifting away from the mic, and the mic is picking up more of just a strange room now. We've got this really low rumble coming through. Yeah, it's very established now. Those things were fading away, and we've just got this dark ambient noise. It feels like a really full hall, or maybe sort of a church that's got a lot of people milling about in it, and as well as their voices all interacting with each other, we've got this huge reverberant space. So those two things working together, they do produce this quite ominous low pitch drone. It's a strange thing. You should go into packed cathedrals and really feel this. If you can hear that over, say, music going on or the rumble of the lights or things like that, then it really does make a big difference. The earthiness of it. It's quite scary. Fighting through high D from one of those saxes, really nice, smacking through. Yeah, some of these notes are slightly off, and I think that's probably because for most saxes, like the flat keys are nice, B flat, E flat, and so if this is in sort of D/G major, it's not the perfect key for it. So some of these are slightly sharp. And then again, it might just be that they didn't bother tuning them, maybe. Anyway, they're leaving. Let's just sit in this noise. Ooh. Yeah, sort of A-flatty noise in there. Yeah, that's becoming more apparent in about 3 different octaves, really low. That one a little bit sharp. Yeah, not a full perfect octave. Yeah, really big. What kind of synth is that? I guess it's a breathy, fluttery one, isn't it? But it's so dark and heavy. Very unusual sound in that low register. Or maybe it's just a grainy one. Yeah, maybe just grainy. Okay, and it's becoming the main thing. So it's overwhelmed that ambience, it's overwhelmed the saxophones, and there's just this ominous presence. Very much against the rest of the thing, right? We were all around here. And then, but now we are here. I mean, it's not quite an Otherworld's key change, but or an Otherworld's chord change, but it's basically that same tritone difference. Okay, but then it drifts away and we get something akin to the same texture as we heard before. It's further away, but it's saxophones again. Different kind of key center. Yeah, more like a B flat major 7 chord here being held across a few different saxophones. And you can hear the organ more or less rumbling there as well. That's a different chord. Still got the yeah, it's more like a C and B flat at the same time. I'm not sure it has the B flat actually, so more like maybe a C with a D added. Oh, with an A in the bass actually. So like an A minor add 11 or A minor 7 add 11. Definitely no 9 in there. And then which we'd had a few times there. The little melodic fragment. You know, how many times have we heard that? Yeah, nice. And D minor is where we finally sit. Because we'd been a bit ambiguous about that F. It had come there very quickly in the riff, but it hadn't been part of either of the main chords. So pretty nice to hear it so clearly there. So overall, a D minor or D Dorian feel is what this had, with some scary A sharps in the middle there. Is that the end? Yes, it is, but with a really long held D power chord that eventually lost that middle note and just left us with Ds. Powerful. Really interesting. Very different to what we normally look at. Big use of space. You know, that's worth an actual tick off of the soundscape box here, which might have been one of the ones to go because it doesn't come up very often. But really, this definitely has soundscape to it, doesn't it? We hear that ambient space as the other things drift off. It's almost like we are on, you know, a boat going through a cave, and we come across this, you know, load of saxophones. What are they doing there? We drift further down, we come across this massive church where everyone's bustling around, and then it sort of descends into this volcanic eruption or something like that. Not quite that strong, maybe. And then we drift back to the saxophones, who are now sad because there's been an eruption and everyone's dead. That's the story of this song. Yeah, maybe it was the beast. Was this? This was the beast, and that ate everyone up apart from the saxophone players, who are sad because everyone's been eaten up. That's what I think. Structure-wise, this is quite an unusual one, isn't it? It's basically linear. We had a tiny intro, and then we had a very repetitive section A, which then had a brief bit at the end of each little A section where it sort of devolved into beating, and that after the third one became its own section. We then came back to A, so not quite linear. We kind of got an ABA there, but if we consider that all as the main first section, then our second section was that fading away, incoming the dark church acoustic, which led into maybe our third section of this long held synth note, and then our fourth section of the more D minor related saxophone stuff. So as a result of that, why not let's get rid of what do we not like? We don't like verse part 2. That's a boring one. Let's get rid of verse part 2, and let's write in, excuse the handwriting, I'm doing this on a trackpad, linear, oh no, not a pencil, a brush. Yeah, there we go, linear. Okay, all right. I see how this is maybe going to cause a problem. Okay, yeah, we're gonna have to get rid of the scribbles on soundscape, then we're gonna have to get rid of the stuff on verse part 2. Not perfect. And then we're gonna have to get rid of this, then we're gonna have to do linear. Okay, I've now written twice, even though that is the worst part of this linear. There we go. Yep. Okay, and we can scribble both of those out. What else did we like about this? Saxophone. We absolutely liked saxophone. Let's replace trumpet with saxophone. In fact, why not bari saxophone to make it slightly less likely to come up? Baritone. Saxophone. It's difficult, but it's going there. There we go, baritone saxophone. And we really liked that. We liked the soundscape, but that's already there, and the linearity of it. I would say, you know, those are the main features. Maybe we could put in riff as well. Riff is something that's likely to come up, and riffs are always fun. We haven't come across Phrygian mode, so let's get rid of Phrygian mode and put a riff in. Riff. Riff, if you don't know, is just a repetitive feature generally on an instrument. We would normally call it something like a hook if it was vocal most of the time. Something repetitive like that. That's pretty much a classic riff. Okay, so I'll save that, and then let's get Scribble in. Soundscape, yes. Bridge has multiple sections. We can't really say it has a bridge. Melisma, really no, there's no vocals. Exact rhythm. No, I don't think we can, because the main rhythmic feature, while it's offbeat, it doesn't really specifically signify threes and twos being what's going on. Otherworld's chord change, we got close, but it wasn't really a chord change, so no. Modal interchange, no, it was pretty much the same mode until it was a chromatic alteration. Heavy syncopation, I wouldn't say heavy syncopation. There was some. Counterpoint, there wasn't really any counterpoint. There were other melodies at the same time, but they did not do anything approaching counterpoint in my mind. I think we could say that there's a coda, because that last section really doesn't feel like the others. And we know it's linear, and we know it's baritone, saxophone, and we know it's a riff. There wasn't any wood blocks, sadly, but there was basically no beat keeping. There was nothing that was specifically going 1, 2, 3 at any point in that. No arpeggiation. No more microtonal variation. I think we can get, actually. Nice one. No chromatic lines though. No cross rhythms. No snare. I mean, we did have a bit of triplets, but that's not a cross rhythm unless you have something to cross it with. There was no snare backbeat, so that's good. Improvised feel, yeah, sometimes. Definitely sometimes. Held dissonance will certainly, oh my goodness, we are smashing through this list. Middle 8, no. Instrumental, well, it was all instrumental, wasn't it? Big drop. We did have a drop. Why not? We're onto a big score here. We're just going to enjoy that one. There we go, no fade out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Wow. 12. Doesn't that show you something? Yeah, very exciting. Okay. What's the time? We're probably only going to get this next one, unfortunately. Facing Atlas, much longer. Let's see. Keeping the saxophones going. Yeah, it's really jumping from like a low. It sounds like it's doing that. I wouldn't have imagined that was really possible on sax. That's really interesting. Yeah, it's so strange actually, because some of these sound like the harmonics of other ones. Some of them are not quite coming through. So it might just be doing this, but then some of them sound lower, or maybe some of them sound sound higher because they're slightly more blown. I don't know really what's going on there. I know that a saxophone does have this key towards the mouth, close to the mouth, which does change the octave. So it might be that maybe that's half open or something like that. But we're playing around now with sort of A flat tonality with a G, which might indicate A flat major. And yeah, the next one comes in the right with a bit more B action, slightly higher. They're sort of drifting in and out of perceptibility in a strange way here. Yeah, another big synthy chord. Quite bright sounding, this one. I guess the other one was fairly bright sounding. But yeah, again, not clear harmony. It's not telling us major or minor. It's telling us sus4, in fact, A flat sus4. Well, you know we've got a G and a a B, so we're not too strange here. But yeah, lots of different notes, all within a diatonic place. I mean, we would expect an F to be there as well, and a C probably. It wouldn't be super out there if we got the C flat, but we'll see. Okay, sounds like a guitar coming in on that A. Interesting how things fade in and out in this, isn't it? Yeah, a few other things just poking through the atmosphere. Nothing disrupting this overall set of notes. Yeah, things fading in and out. Very ambient flavour to it. But unlike a lot of ambient music, we've got fast-moving instrumental parts. That's much less likely to happen in your general ambient music. And in fact, the constant rhythm of them sort of puts it into more of a minimalist category rather than specifically ambient. But the two things are very similar. And there is a satisfying C, giving us our A flat major chord. Really satisfying when that comes down there, along with a low woo. So there's a few things. We've got that triplet kind of rhythm. Seems to have faded out somewhat now. It feels like there's something keeping a don't think it's a hi-hat, but something keeping that rhythm.
I came to take you back to where you came from.
Okay, emerging out of the mist. Pretty straightforward phrase, still in our diatonic key of A flat major. Starting with that really strong top note, I came, and then coming down to take you back where you came from, I think. So 5, 4, no, sorry, 8 all the way up there, 5, 4, 3, 4, 5. Straightforward notes.
Sounds like hungry,
Sorry, what?
like hungry.
Oh yes, true. Thank you very much for that. Nights in the city, da, 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 da. It's like Hungry Like the Wolf. It's not like Hungry Like the Wolf overall though, because that would be more of a Mixolydian harmony as opposed to a Ionian classic major harmony. That's the basic deal there. Mixolydian has the flat 7, G flat in this case, whereas we know that we've had G in the background with the saxophone, so we're not looking at that. Anyway, the melody overall is actually quite similar, even though it's much more drawn out than that particular Duran Duran classic. Yeah, lots of tinkling in that high range as well, isn't there? Oh, what were those notes? A high D flat and C, lovely. Such long held notes in this high declamatory area of the voice. But we've really spelt out, well, the first 5 notes of the key. We've still not had any Fs actually. I sometimes think with this kind of mood soup, the fewer notes we have, the more effective it is. If we have all 7 notes of the scale, it just becomes quite overwhelming. You're not really sure what to feel. Voicing can change that a little. But as we're keeping to mainly these first 5, it keeps keeps the feel overall understandable, sympathetic, or you feel sympathetic to the sound, I guess. I'm not quite conveying what I mean there, but give it a go at understanding.
I fought so hard for you, for us, for our life here.
Similar to the first one, but lots more going between these two notes, da, 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 before going back up to the 5 there. So we've had 2 very similar phrases with one different one in the middle. Are we going to get another different one like that? It's like an ABA. Are we going to get another B?
But now you need to go.
Pretty much. Different words and a different contour overall, but the same 4 notes being done there. Yeah, quite a bright sound in that higher range, whereas the da 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 feels a lot more deep. So it's almost like these 2 different voices singing these 2 different parts. And as we've finished that one, we've had this sort of swell from the lower instruments, so it suggests we're going somewhere new now. All those tinkly percussive instruments, goodness knows, bells. What else could there be? Okay, we've actually gone pretty much back to the same melodic phrase, so maybe this is our second verse here, but we got this shimmer up here from another synth, a kind of glassy synth up there. And then it sounds like we've got a shift of the bass note. Yeah. Oh, and it really goes more into a glassy texture after that. So we were very much around A flat, but then we've got our F for the first time here, really powerfully coming through in the bass and in this higher chord here as well, filling up our sound holes with a new sound, the one note we hadn't heard before in this song, of our key at least. And so it's like, that's what was missing. And also now we're going to live with that one. He really completes us. We've still got some of the other notes. I think we've got that D flat in there, maybe the B flat. So it's still not a full just minor chord, F minor, but it's got a lot going on. And even though we've got some semblance of rhythm with this phrase and then this phrase, really there's no clear beat. Everything is just occupying its own, sometimes very repetitive diggy 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 pattern, and sometimes more drawn out and spacious. A lot of things repeating over and over and over and again, and then other things just keeping these long lines going. Okay. Whoa. We moved the bass note again, this time to D flat, so again giving us a different feel here. Let's just hear that change again. So there's our A flat sus, F minor, D flat. Yeah, so that's a different phrase. After the world is full of shit and evil, but there you stand. Different phrase, and that, but there you stand, I think is what's going on. And we're back to the A sus4 main tonality here. So there we sort of join the two together with that long phrase. It goes to that F as the last notes of the first phrase. but really it is the first notes of the next phrase. It's just joining them together in this way, and instead of having the break before that and then but I being on its own, it's joined to the previous phrase. So it's kind of a canny trick to avoid having two breaks one after another. Okay, same kind of trick there. So if we were thinking of this in conventional terms and we had the verse as our first thing, this is sort of like a verse part 2, isn't it? Where we've had something similar to the verse. Annoying, because we've just deleted verse part 2 off the bingo sheet. But then we've got these different B sections. They're now more like A C rather than A B. And this, wow, okay, and that last one then, the fifth set of A, B/C, well, the melody does our B, doesn't it? Whereas the bass goes with the C version. So we get this conglomeration on that last one, merger of these two synergistic forms to create one titan of structure. Lovely. Really feels very climactic, especially when we get that D flat chord with the I really like the held dissonance there. Very nice. Slightly less thoughtful or less intellectual than the first track so far, this one. But nonetheless, quite emotive, quite powerful. What do we get after that? Drums. It feels just like hi-hat on those last three and kick drum on the first. So a huge difference just in these two instruments being added, because really it's not just the instruments that are added, is it? It's solid rhythm that we can rely on, which has been absent from the rest of the song. And there's a little bit of strange filter sweeping going on in the background too. It's kind of kind of thing, extra. Maybe the other things are fading out.
The foolish hope of great eternal beauty.
Okay, even though we've got that beat now, rooting things down, that has not confined that melody to take up a sensible amount of beats. Let's hear it. Okay. When it comes in.
The foolish hope of great eternal beauty.
Okay. So we change chord there on the 10th. Which means presumably the first phrase takes up 9. Huh. Interesting. Let's hear how long the next phrase takes up. Okay, so getting back to the A flat took us 11, and we were on two different chords. Which one was the longer? Do you want to make a guess? F minor or D flat? Here we go. It was F minor. F minor was for 6, D flat was for 5. Now, a crazy person might go back to the previous section to see if you can actually map the rhythm onto that section, even though it's not there. I'm not crazy in that way. Hello? Okay. So I'm not going to do that. I really hope that wasn't just me imagining the door knocking there. As I say, I'm not crazy. That would be poetic irony, I suppose. Anyway, yeah, we had 9, then we had 11. So overall 20, but now we have a bit of a downtime on that A flat before the next phrase starts. Also, just before we move on, we went up to a higher note, didn't we? Please, my heart. Oh, whatever it was. Going up to that E flat, no longer in such a voice, which, you know, got to take the weight off it at some point, but maybe it suits the words to soften up there. Either way, maybe slightly less exciting. And we've got this very grainy synth sound coming through there as well. Could in fact be a guitar. It's cleaning up into a clearer note there. Whoa, 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 whoa. Before that happens, how many beats did we get there? Here we go. Yeah, okay, 10, and on the 11th we drop everything. Everything drops. Really unexpected. So 10. So overall, between the two phrases there, with a big pause at the end of the second one, that's 30 beats. Not a conventional amount, not an odd amount because it's an even number, but you know, that's 2 15s. It's not like 2 8s. 2 8s or 2 16s would make a lot more sense. But now we've dropped stuff. It sounds like only the vocal is going to carry on here. This is very surprising how this sounds, but there we are. So just for 2 beats basically we add in that "Can we just," and you know what, if we add those 2 beats on, what do we get? We get 32. Let's just check it is 2 beats, because if it's 1, that's even weirder. There we go. It is. It's 32. And then we go straight, instead of to the F minor, we're going straight to the D flat. Powerful sudden change. With such a big texture, isn't it? I can't hope to wheedle out what's going on in there. Although actually it sounds sparser here in a way. More synth-led. We've still got the drums and we've got the voice really by itself in that octave, just holding that really strong D flat. A bit of an echo on the voice as well, giving even more aspect to the space. Yeah, so there we did have a moment of going from D back to F before going to A flat. This is all quite static harmonically. You know, there's quite a lot of notes between these chords that are shared. So it doesn't feel like a huge difference. The biggest difference is going straight from that A flat to the D flat, which we've had a couple of times now, and we've had it the opposite way around as well. But even that doesn't feel like a huge change. Yeah, so structure wise, I guess this is, oh no, have I lost internet? Why does it say I'm in offline mode? Don't know. Okay, ignoring, hopefully I will stay on. Yeah, so what did we have? Structurally, we've again built towards this sort of sudden change, after which the song is taking quite a different tack. We've sort of reversed the chord sequence to some degree. It's not quite reversed. and we're doing different vocal phrases. Texturally, all very similar, so it's not a huge difference like in the Beast, but still quite a big change. Not something that's just verse and chorus kind of working, is it? There was a strong E flat there. Yeah, and we're still playing with slightly odd amounts of beats. It was 3 on the D flat there, 3 on the F before we came back to the A. And it sounds like now the drums are dropping again. A little bit of a ripping at the seams there before the drums came back in. Big old melisma. Oh! Lots of slide downs, which I get told off for doing. Oh, this kind of thing. Ah, yeah, but you know, I'm not one to judge. So that one note, that A flat coming through on a very grainy, distorted noise, probably a synth, I think. And slightly playing with the pitch. We're getting a bit more drums, aren't we? Quite a lot more drums, actually. They've got a bit of an echo to them, so we're getting this kind of feel in the right headphone, and we've got some smashy sounds in the left. Yeah. Still the going on, but other things as well. Ba-ba, da-da. Having a heavy 2 at the beginning of the beat there. Oh, slightly more improvised version on the left. Yeah. Just with this one note held in the rest of the things, I think. Really just the A flat. Yeah. Building crazy layers. There was one thing moved across the pan spectrum there as well. Okay, slightly lower, but loads of percussion. And crash cymbal. We did have a few crash cymbals in there. Just a little bit of a grainy A flat. And there it goes into the maybe convolution reverb. Really big sound. Cool piece of music. Very good. Well, what did we like about that? We loved that there was this strong high belt singing, didn't we? We liked high belt. Let's get rid of wood block, which we don't care for even when it is here, and let's write in high belt. Yeah. Percussion-led outro. We've come across these occasionally in Aurora songs, but big percussion outros are fantastic. What should we get rid of? You know, it'll come up if it comes up. Let's get rid of the Other Worlds chord change, which hasn't come up so far. Yeah, so what was I saying? Oh crap, I've forgotten what it was. Yeah, percussion-led outro. There we go. Joined up. What? Yarn. Hyphen led outro. I think it's really, yeah, it's a very satisfying way to end, because, you know, the music part, if you will be so bold as to go with me and call the harmony and melody the music part, that slowly drifts away, leaving only the primal rhythm left underneath it. It's really great. And we did like the binary split, didn't we? Split down the middle. So let's get rid of middle 8. I mean, it would make sense to replace linear with binary, but we've just put linear on. Binary structure. You know, you can probably argue that most linear structures are binary as well, but this is more clearly binary because we have a lot of repetition in the first half, and then we have a fair bit of repetition in the second half, but there's nothing that unites them. Well, yeah, I guess they're oh, what am I doing? Structure. I guess they are kind of united right in the middle because we get the drum beat and we get the first half right in the middle. Yeah, all right. I think those are the best things about that one. Did we get soundscape this time? Not quite in the same way. It was, I would say, that's more of a sound collage, loads and loads of different instruments. We didn't quite get the sort of ambient space that we might hope for a soundscape. That's what I would say. Did we get baritone saxophone? We got a tiny bit of sax just at the beginning, but I don't think it qualifies. Coda, you know, that outro is a coda. Bridge, we didn't have a bridge, has multiple sections. We did get some cool melisma. Counterpoint, no, really, there was only ever one melody in this. And Aksak rhythm, I mean, no, we had this very, very strong beat, like a dance piece of music, really. Percussion-led outro, we know we have it. Modal interchange, no, it was all the same. It was all the same diatonic thing. No syncopation, really, at all. At least nothing that is tangible. High belts, we know we did. Linear, well, because we don't go back, you could say we have linear, but because there's so much repetition, I think it's silly to call it linear. A riff, we didn't really have a riff in this one. We did have some beat keeping, but we did not have a snare backbeat, so that's good. Arpeggiation, no, not really. Microtonal variation, only a tiny amount, so don't think we can give it that. No chromatic lines. Cross rhythms, well, towards the end I would say there's probably stuff like that going on. I don't know if that's explicitly what's going on, but there are some definite polyrhythms, so I will give it. There were some beautiful held dissonances even in that diatonic key, so that was great. There was a fair amount of instrumental, wasn't there? Should this be instrumental section, do you think? Because it's not a fully instrumental thing, but yeah, I don't know, actually. It doesn't feel like that there were maybe, you know, 10 bar sections, weren't there, which were instrumental. All right, in fact 10 beat is kind of how I'm thinking of it, these slow beats, so I'm not sure that's long enough to call instrumental. A bit of an improvised feel, a bit, yeah, we'll allow it. Binary structure, we know we had it. We did have another fairly big drop. 2-beat drop, pretty big. No fade out. Well, let's hear it again. Let's just hear that end bit. I'll count it. I'll count it as a fade out. We also do hear a bit of what is probably a baritone sax at the beginning, so let's give it it. Wow. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4. Still no lines. Lines are a thing of the past. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So 2 extraordinarily high scores for the new style bingo there. Jolly good. That is New Music Friday. Anna von Hausswolff giving us a really surprising set of at least 2 songs. How many songs are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 12 new songs. The first 2, very surprising. timbres, textures, tonalities even. Really, really surprising, but still quite interesting and uniquely constructed. We also have a Struggle with the Beast coming up later on the album, so hope you go and listen to the whole thing. It's no doubt going to be one of the more interesting ones of the year. Iconoclasts by Anna von Hausswolff. Hausswolff, maybe? Hausswolff. Judging by, a German pronunciation as opposed to Swedish, so I could be way off. I don't know. Have a great day. Have a great Friday and a great life, and enjoy yourself and be nice and stand up for yourself when you're being put down. Bye bye.